Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Touhou reaction, I suppose. I guess I can start calling these what they are. It kind of is. Anyway, this is Ephemeral Fantasy as requested by Charlie and my executive producers, and that's basically it. I know it's a Touhou song from a German EDM focused group, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna hear what this is, and without further ado, let's go!
After time and time again, the year has come into an end.
Good start.
In a daze, my mind can't help but wander back to passing days.
It's giving 90s Euro Club already, and it just started.
Or be surprised. Don't go on waiting for a change. Embrace yourself and live again.
There it is. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be vibing here for a little bit. I've done 3 videos today, and all 3 of them have got me jamming. They're all very different, but they all got me grooving. This is using what I call the Touhou progression, which is kind of funny. I'll explain myself later, but for now, we vibe. I really love how much this sounds like something out of the mid-90s. Not even the late 90s. I'm starting to pay more attention to some of the layers in here, pulling things apart a little bit. This core part, this is exactly what you would play at a club. 100%. Mix it in. Also, I'm going to point it out before the picture fades away, but that hand, that right hand, the hell is that? I think it's the second video where I've pointed out that the art has some anatomical problems. It's not like it's completely bad, but from my own artist background, what the hell is that hand? Alright, so what was I referring to when I said the Touhou progression? This isn't necessarily a thing, it's just kind of what I call it. You could also call it anything you wanted to. Also the EDM progression as well, because they just do this all over every EDM genre, especially house music. But basically it's taking the standard progression for this key, which would be F minor, and the standard starting with that root chord, and then just going linear up the way. So for this one, it would be... There you go. That's like how the natural progression would be. It's a 1, 6, 7. Don't make the fucking joke, I swear to God. Anyway, so the way that they do this is doing 6, 7, 1. Again, don't make the joke, I swear for God. But with that in place, we get this progression. And as you can probably tell, that sounds kind of better. It sounds more uplifting. Starting in the middle of that linear instead of starting at the 1, you get a little bit of tension immediately. And that's why it's so useful for stuff like EDM, because EDM kind of thrives with tension in existence. That's why a lot of these songs tend to be either in the key of C, which is the most standard one and is usually the choice for most uplifting EDM, or it's in a minor or flat key, much like this one. And the reason for that is mostly psychological. The reason that we feel so uplifted when these progressions happen is because they are naturally lifting upwards, much like this one, where it starts low, works its way up, from there, even all the way up to that next one. And then when it goes back down, we actually get an A flat in here, and that's kind of like, oh, okay, that's a little bit different. And we get a little bit of a different approach with that. It also includes a B flat minor in there, which is an interesting one that kind of bridges the gap of everything else going on in here. So if I were to like place that into context, it would be like, and as you can kind of hear where that kind of lands somewhere in between, that's because it's using the same middle note as that first chord. So it kind of wraps itself back around, and the F minor being in there is just the most uplifting chord we have in that progression. Everything else goes down low and doesn't really lift much higher. I think there might be a G flat minor somewhere in here too. I didn't pay that close of attention, but at the same time, that would be the only arguably more uplifting one in there. Update, the G flat minor, I apologize, does not actually work inside this key. This note is not in the key here, so this wouldn't necessarily work. However, this might, which is just G flat, and that's probably what I was hearing in there. It's just with everything else going on, the music can be a little bit muddy sometimes, not because of the producer, just because it's hard to hear under all of these layers of things. Sometimes I'm going to mess up a little bit, but I just wanted to be clear that it's not the G flat minor. It would be the G minor if it's in here, and that would actually be the biggest uplift. So in the feeling of this song, that would probably be the largest like energy shift we get. So if we just, but you can hear that it doesn't quite sound as good as for some reason. And why is that? It's purely because taking this is lifting too much. You know, like there's a limit to how much you can lift a progression. Having something go is immediately shifting the energy to something that sounds much more grandiose. It doesn't have the same level of grounded sensation that the F minor does. So having, it's just like a half step up instead of taking a little too far into that. It's the same reason why we have this in here, and then we only use this as a connective chord. And that's kind of just the core of music theory when you get to progressions. You want something that sounds a little bit tensious. You want to have tension in a song. That's how you build emotion out of a piece. But you also don't want to completely gut the song of that natural emotional lift. Having something go to this F minor instead of up here to that G flat is just a better option to have, especially since this G flat is also an F sharp. And if we're going up from D to E to F, having a minor in there is more of a step down from the sharp. And the reason that that is important is because through this one, that center note is the F. This next one, the center note is actually the G, so we're going on the center note, and in the natural progression, we want to go up just another half step more. There it is. If we were to do the whole G minor thing, this is a whole like 3 steps above. So instead of going, which feels like a very natural progression, it would go, where the hell did that come from? That's probably one of the best examples of music theory you can get when it comes to a progression and why things work. Keep things linear unless you know what you're doing and you can play around with it a little bit, because if you don't, you're going to get lost. Like that is not going to fit in the same progression. it just feels so much more natural. But that's kind of the core of why I call this the Touhou progression. Again, it's not necessarily just Touhou, it's every EDM song. That's why it's so important. This natural progression is the core of music and why these things resonate with us the way that they do. Having these sorts of linear progressions is a classic move, especially for something that needs to hold its tension, much like EDM does. And while you can definitely have uplifting, very positive sounds, I would again prefer you go to C or something that's a little bit more flexible in that way, where you can include some interesting options while not being so limited by the pure tension that is F minor. It's basically all flats and minors. But as far as general opinions on the song go, I think it was a pretty decent song. I don't really have any negative thoughts about it. The overall mix was pretty solid, a little bit muddy, but I kind of expect that out of the Touhou community. It's not like they're getting the fucking best producers in the world to work on these, but at the same time, they do hold their own a lot of the time. That's very much the case here. And I think the vocalists did a really good job here. I believe there's 2 vocalists on this song, and they sounded great, but at the same time, I feel like they were a little bit shy. That tends to happen with a lot of Touhou stuff as well. Again, that's just more of maybe they're not as experienced or comfortable singing certain things. It's going to happen, and they're probably much better now than they were back when they recorded this, which this was uploaded in 2017. Who knows how much longer before that upload this song was actually made? It could have been from the same year, but either way, that's what growth is about. I can hear there's a little bit of wavering in her vocals, and again, that's probably just the confidence talking, and I'm sure that has improved over time. It's just a matter of like, does that really affect the song? Not necessarily. I think that she did a fantastic job with what she had, and the power in her voice was very solid, at very least the main vocalist. I think that there's 2, I'm pretty sure I saw 2 in the credits, but it sounded like there was 1 consistent lead vocalist, so maybe the other was just there for harmonies or something of the like. Maybe there was the reason that they had the doubling going on, they had a different vocalist. Usually that's the same vocalist, but it kind of just depends on who you are and who's producing. But if you couldn't tell by me jamming out to the song the whole time, of course I had a good time listening to it. Just because there's little things in here that I notice doesn't mean that it's a bad track. It just means, hey, it's a thing to learn from and a thing to teach with, and tell all of you guys about what to look for if you're going into producing yourself and trying to write music yourself. There's always going to be growing pains to it. That's just the way music is. Lord knows I couldn't make something that's this competent in this genre. They fucking knocked it out of the park as far as that goes. But all in the same, that's the point of music, is to make music that people enjoy. It doesn't really matter how technically apt you are, as long as you learn from it, you grow from it, and you continue to do more and more. Given that this is a circle from Touhou, I'm assuming they stuck around for quite a while and made many more songs and probably improved over time. I don't know if they're still active or not. I didn't get any note on that. I know some of them have fallen apart, but that's kind of irrelevant. The point is, this song is great and it's there forever, and I'm grateful it is. But I think that's enough yapping for me today, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else, by all means, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you want to guarantee something, much like Charlie did for this one, you can always go to my Patreon or my YouTube memberships, or you can force me to listen to something. Doesn't matter what it's from, who it's by, if it's good or bad, none of that matters. That's why it's a guarantee. But if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!